Today is February 8th, 2020. This is the first video for Instructor 1. Today's topic is going to be the straight hose roll. Today's class is going to be over the straight hose roll. Before I start, I want to go over a few things. Name's Jeremiah Rivera. I'm with the Greenville Fire Department. I've been with the department for 13 years. I've been an engineer for 6 years. My student today is Greg Green. He's been with the department for 11 years. Let's go over a few things. Greg, the bathroom's on the inside. We have water over here behind us if you need some. In case of emergency, exit doors are back behind you. You got the bay doors to the right of you. If you need anything else, just ask a question. Let me know. We got some goals and objectives we're going to go over today. It's going to help us get through the straight hose roll. Remember, there will be a quiz at the end of this presentation. So just pay attention to the bottom. It will pretty much give you the answers to the question. We're going to go over the purpose, the steps, how to do it. Before we begin, do you have any questions?
No.
Alright, so we're going to go over the objectives first. The objectives are, number one is describe the purpose of the straight hose roll. Number two is going to be to demonstrate the straight hose roll. I highlighted on the bottom, it says the most common hose roll used in the fire service is the straight hose roll. You being a firefighter for 10 years, you know that every time on a fire ground, every time there's a deployment of a hose, when we roll it up, to move it, to store it, to deploy it, it's always either rolled up or comes from where we roll it up. Some other things we want to talk about is the way the couplings are. You're going to start with the male coupling. And the reason the male coupling's on the inside is to protect the threads. Also, one of the reasons is when you deploy the hose, the male goes to the outside or the end where the other firefighter is to connect the other hose or the nozzle. Do you have any questions up to this point about the objectives and what you're going to learn? Alright, so we're going to go over the purposes of the straight hose roll. Some of the purposes are for storage. Once it's rolled up to a donut roll, it's easy to store on racks or stacked up on top of each other. It just doesn't take a whole lot of space. Whenever you roll it, you'll see how small of space that it does take up. Whenever it does get dirty and you're on the fire ground, you use it, you need to wash it, you don't want to put it back in service. Roll it up, put it on the engine, take it back to the station to clean it. It goes to the next bullet point about making it easy to load on the back of an apparatus. You don't just want to throw a hose on the top of the bed, it'll fly off, it'll roll over to the side, it's just sloppy, it's messy, you damage the hose. So just rolling it up just makes for easy storage on the back of the apparatus. Another purpose of the straight hose roll is to use when you're creating the Minuteman load. Minuteman load is a hose load that is used, and the way you create it is take a donut or a straight hose roll and you go back and forth in a circle going opposite of the hose roll, and it'll create that Minuteman load. Again, I highlighted on the bottom is the straight roll is the most common type of hose roll used in the fire service. Greg, do you have any questions about the purposes of the straight roll? Alright, so that was our first objective. The second objective was to demonstrate the hose roll. Before you demonstrate, we're going to go over the steps. If you could read step 1 for me.
Lay out the hose straight and flat.
Okay. So as you can see behind you, there's a hose. There's a 2.5-inch hose behind Greg, and it's just kind of laid out. So when we talk about step 1, in in order to get the hose rolled straight and flat, you have to straighten it out. The second step is to roll the male coupling over onto the hose to start the roll. And when Greg gets out there, he'll demonstrate that. He'll start by doing that. He's going to continue to roll the hose until it's completely done forming a roll. And once it's done, Greg, do you mind reading the fourth one?
Lay the completed roll on the ground and flatten the roll.
Okay. So once he's done, he's going to go ahead and lay it on the ground. He's going to tap it down, step on it, jump on it, whatever he does or needs to do to go ahead and make it as flat as possible. Again, because we're going to use it for storage, so we need it nice and tight and clean so that we can stack them on top of each other or side by side. I did put a little note on the slide here, Greg. It says damaged hoses will be rolled with the female coupling to start. The male will be on the outside. All right, so that's for damaged hose or in need of service. And whenever you're on the fire ground, things happen. There's a lot of pressure that goes through these hoses. They bust, they tear, they get ripped. So you'll need to go ahead and take one out, make it unserviceable or take it out of service. And that's when you roll it backwards, starting with the female with the male coupling on the outside. Again, on the bottom, I highlighted the most common hose roll in the fire service is the straight hose roll. All right, Greg, do you mind demonstrating the 4 steps to create a straight hose roll? So behind you, we have that 2.5 inch. So he's looking for the male coupling.
First, we want to straighten it out. So, assuming we've already drained all the water out of the hose, get it nice and straight. Fold in the valve.
So he started with the male coupling. He's continued to roll on top of each other as in a straight line as possible. He's going to continue to roll until he's completely done and the female coupling is at the end of the roll. Now he's doing step 4. He's laying it down flat, clean, and neat. Another advantage that we didn't talk about is the carrying ability of the straight roll. When you roll it up like that, give yourself a little slack, creates a little handle. You can easily maneuver, carry, and distribute the rolls, the hose. Good job, Greg. You got any questions about the steps? Alright, so here are a few questions about the straight hose roll. So what's the most common type?
Straight hose roll.
Alright, so what are the uses or purpose of the straight roll?
It's easy to load. After a fire scene, a lot of times the hoses are muddy and dirty. So we'll roll it like this. We get back to the station, clean them up before we put them back on the engines. It's used a lot in our 5-inch, our short shots for storage. It stores easily. And well, that's the next one.
Alright, so the last question says, what is the purpose of the male coupling on the outside? Why would you put the male coupling on the outside and reverse it?
So we use this hose roll if the hose is damaged. We can have a burst. It can be separated from the coupling. It can have damaged threads in the coupling. So sometimes they can be repaired. Or sometimes they'll be serviceable. But we'll put the male to the outside. We'll roll it up so we know that that's the damaged hose.
Alright, So we talked about the most common type, the purposes, and the one reason we would create the hose roll backwards, starting with the female and ending with the male. Do you have any questions on any of this, Greg? Presentation, anything? No? All right, so in summary, we talked about the uses, the purpose. We've met the objective. You now know how to perform a straight hose roll. You know the purposes. And again, are there any other questions that you have?